If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer. And you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. I don't think that power carries quite as much for those bigger guys. It's a little bit of a step up, like that. There's very few guys that keep that power as they keep going up and up and up in weight.
A lot of people think it's funny, like, oh, you're gonna fight Canelo, like you're saying you're gonna beat Canelo, like you're out of your mind. You lost to Tommy Fury in a split decision. How are you going to beat Canelo?
Jake Paul is expected to fight Canelo Alvarez in May 2025. Joe Rogan doubts this bout will happen, stating Canelo's got a lot of things he's doing. He doesn't have any time to be waiting around for Jake Paul. He further says everyone knows Canelo is a big money fight. That's why everyone wants to fight, and Canelo is a big payday. Rogan remains skeptical, questioning whether the fight will actually happen given Canelo's busy schedule.
This is very fucking dangerous. Very dangerous.
There's always somebody coming, right behind you. These guys who've been at the top so long, you're like, all right, let me get somebody that's on my level. Canelo, he's been in the game just as long as me, and all right, let's just do this for this paycheck, and then move on.
I think when they get to a certain level and they realize they have a few fights left, they want the big money fights. And Canelo is obviously the biggest money fight. Even though Boots Ennis is a great fighter, most people don't know who he is yet.
Yeah.
And with Canelo, everybody knows who Canelo is. If you get the Canelo fight, that's red panty.
Joe Rogan believes that people don't like Jake Paul simply because he started as a YouTuber, according to Rogan. Many refuse to accept that Paul is a legitimate boxer. However, he argues that Paul has already proven himself by defeating multiple UFC champions.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTuber guy, he was just a boxer. And you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. Knock him out with one punch like that. Like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's for real. There's nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real...
Rogan acknowledges Paul's dedication and states that he is a great boxer despite the criticism he receives.
Do you think you could still throw down? Like if it had to happen? Like if Jake Paul called you out?
Well, he probably fucked me up.
Really?
He's a good boxer.
What if it was kickboxing? He doesn't really know how to kickbox.
A younger man and I had good knees, I could be kickboxing people, but I could barely get to a workout without being in pain now. There's a reality of knees.
In a discussion, Joe Rogan and Post Malone both agreed that Canelo Alvarez is an absolute beast in the ring. Canelo's dominant skill and power make him one of the greatest boxers of this generation. They highlighted his incredible career and how he continues to take on the toughest challenges.
Beast. He's a beast. He's a beast.
Like I'm talking more about Jake. I want to see a UFC fight.
You want to see a UFC fight with Jake?
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to fight for the UFC.
Well, no, or
MMA
fight. MMA fight.
He'll do an MMA. He's got a contract with PFL, which is another organization. They're throwing a lot of money around. They just signed Francis Ngannou, and Jake has a contract with them. So if he has an MMA fight, I think it has to be over there.
Many boxing professionals are skeptical about Jake Paul versus Canelo actually happening. The biggest reason is that Canelo is already busy preparing for his fight against Terence Crawford in September. Given that Canelo has his focus on facing another elite opponent, most experts believe he won't entertain the idea of fighting Jake Paul anytime soon.
You said that you'd like to go up against Canelo Alvarez. What gives you the right to call it a 59-2 boxer, one of the greatest of all time, when you've not yet proven yourself?
I'm predicting what's going to happen 3 more years from now.
I'm
going to get to his skill level and beat him. I have one of the greatest self-belief systems in the world, and I know what I'm capable of, and with this new team, I can give Canelo serious for his money.
Would you ever do like exhibitions like that, or like people like Jake Paul call you out, or these like other big stars? Like, is that business wise like even worth it?
When I'm done with boxing, why not? Maybe I do it. I think it's
like when you're done like competing at the highest level. You're saying?
Yeah, I think it's good because what happened there is other people who never watch boxing, or they don't know anything about boxing. They want to watch Jake Paul because he's coming from he brings fans from other world. Right? That's good because everybody enjoy it.
Would you ever entertain that idea when you're done?
Maybe.
Max, a boxing analyst, believes that while Jake Paul wants to fight Canelo, the Mexican superstar won't entertain the idea. According to Max, Canelo is not interested in turning boxing into an entertainment show. He sees Jake Paul as someone who is bringing entertainment rather than real competition, and he does not consider Paul a worthy opponent for.
Yeah.
Well, we actually did it.
It's not impossible. He has 0% chance to beat Canelo Alvarez. That's the worst guy he can fight is Canelo Alvarez. The worst thing he can do.
No. Tell us why.
Because Canelo Alvarez is not playing games.
Thank you.
Everything is muscle memory since he was a kid. He was a natural. He's fought every fighter there is. He's beaten light heavyweights, and he's a natural counterpuncher. You come to him, he just beats the hell out of you. There's no way in any universe Jake Paul could ever beat Canelo Alvarez. But I love the fact that he's I love that about both Paul brothers. This is how it could happen, okay? How a fight could happen. He has to beat Tyron Woodley. That's not easy. Then he has to beat a striker in their prime, because Woodley's not in his prime anymore, right? Still an MMA guy, not a full-time boxer in fight. Then he'd be 5-0. Then he needs to beat a striker who's his size and in his prime, but from MMA, so he still hasn't fought a boxer. He's 6-0. Then he needs to fight a pro boxer. To be an inexperienced guy, then you got to fight him. That's 7-0. Beat a more experienced pro boxer, 8-0. Beat a pro boxer his own size, 9-0. Beat a more experienced pro boxer his own size. He'd be 10-0, and now he's ready for an 8-round fight against the real fighter, right? Then you got to beat that guy. It takes a while to build up a world-class 10-round fighter, and he'll always be at a disadvantage against guys with amateur backgrounds because they have muscle memory. We saw it in UFC 264. Stephen A. Remember the Hardy fight? Mm-hmm. So he's fighting a guy with muscle memory. Hardy's an athlete.
Jake Paul has always emphasized that he sets big goals for himself. He believes that putting these fights together helps him push his limits. According to Paul, challenging Canelo is a way to put pressure on himself, which helps him grow as a fighter. He is determined to achieve his dreams even if people doubt him.
Champion. And then for your girlfriend Yuta to win Olympic gold. Yeah, we just have all the belts. That's insane in the world. That's crazy. And then we should just retire after that. So look, are you happy with your performance in the fight? Are you happy with the way the night went down? I wish he would have, put up a better fight so that I could have risen more and done more. And he was surviving. He was. So before he went out, but I think that everybody just wants him to win. Wanted Mike to win, but dude, people really don't like us. People really want to see you get knocked out. Yeah, what did I have to do to anyone? You climbed on top of the KDLA newsman. Hilarious. You wasted the government's money. How? Because the FBI had to raid the house. They wasted their own money. They wasted their own money. Why would they do that? And then it's nothing ever came from it. They didn't even know what they were doing.
Even though Jake Paul himself tweeted about the potential fight, many people still refuse to believe it will happen. Some call it impossible, while others dismiss it as a mere rumor. However, Aid Oladipo believes that Canelo might actually accept the fight. According to Bolito, this could be an easy money fight for Canelo, which might tempt him to take the offer.
All right, let's do this. Canelo versus Crawford, confirmed. Not a rumor, not speculation, not he said, she said, or someone leaking a story. Confirmed. And I guess the confirmation doesn't get much more rock solid than the Ring Magazine putting this story out first. Ring Magazine, obviously owned by Turkey. Turkey would have been the one to put this deal together, and Turkey would have had to give it the green light for Ring Magazine to even put that story out. That's as confirmation as you need it. That's it. The fight will happen in September. Touch wood, no injuries. Wow. Easily the biggest fight of 2025. I said a few days ago, Benavidez Morale was my most intriguing fight of 2025. Obviously, that's now been put down to second place because this has been announced. Nothing can be announced to top this.
The biggest discussion surrounding this potential fight is its broadcasting platform. If Jake Paul versus Canelo happens on Netflix, it would likely explode the internet, given the platform's massive global reach and the hype surrounding Paul. This event could break streaming records and introduce boxing to an even wider audience.
Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul in May. That's what ESPN will say. ESPN in Spanish is reporting. ESPN in Spanish does a million times better than ESPN in English when it comes to boxing. It's just factual. So I really trust their relationship in the boxing world versus the American counterpart, that it's always hit or miss. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they pick sources, they don't source where they got it from. But ESPN in Spanish is saying it's very serious talks between Canelo Alvarez and Jake Paul to fight in the USA in May. There's going to be a joint promotion from Canelo Promotions, from MVP Promotions, and from PBC. I've heard about this fight about 5 months ago, that there was talks about it happening. We couldn't really run with it because it didn't look like that was the direction, but anything is possible. And Jake Paul did tease that he has a big announcement in January. So this may be the big announcement he's working on. But what do you guys think? Canelo and Jake Paul. Jake Paul's been in boxing 5 years. Canelo Alvarez has been in boxing since he was a kid. Been a professional since he's 15. He's fought the likes of Mayweather, Cotto, Danny Jacobs. So many off the top of my head. Hero Angulo, Big Bart, Berlanga, and Austin Trout. And so many legends on his resume. Shane Mosley and James Kirkland. And Canelo worked very hard to be at the division that he's in. A 4-division champion and undisputed at 68. And him and Jake Paul, marketing wise, could be a massive success. Everyone knows Canelo is a rock star. Everyone knows Jake Paul is very popular. It's hard to top Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, but there's one fight they could top it. This may be it. So this would be interesting. And Jake Paul, he shared the ring with Mike Tyson. You know, a lot of people want to see revenge. Even Canelo said he would fight him in revenge for Mike Tyson. So this may be on Netflix again, and if it is, that was a movie they really invested.
David Benovitz has also shared his opinion on the fight. He believes that before retiring, Canelo should fight him instead of Jake Paul. Benovitz argues that both he and Canelo have multiple titles and are among the greatest in the sport. He sees himself as a legitimate challenge for Canelo, unlike Jake Paul, whom people view as someone trying to bring entertainment to boxing rather than real competition.
Is over, he will applaud David Benavidez. True. I think it will happen. Like I said, I gotta keep doing what I'm doing. I think now what I've showed is that, I'm a big enough name. David Morrell wasn't really that known, but we still sold out of 20,000 people in the T-Mobile Arena. I'm sure the pay-per-view is pretty good. So I think I'm making my case. I still have a lot of room to grow. So by the time Canelo, I don't know when Canelo's going to retire, but by the time maybe in a couple of years, this fight will probably be even bigger than it was when when people were first talking about it. So I'll have more titles. So Canelo probably have more titles, and it'll just make it for a bigger fight. Kind of like Mayweather Pacquiao.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, did it ever get close enough to the point where you actually thought it was going to happen? Did it ever get to the goal line, so to speak?
I don't know about the paperwork that side, but I felt like it was really close to happening because I did everything I was supposed to do to get the fight, and like I said, the people want the fight. So these whole past 2 years, I thought it was going to happen.